What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.
Yo, what is going on? Welcome back. Welcome in to Best Ball Breakdown. We took last week off. Ryan was out traveling. I was out traveling. And we are back this week to win all of the money on Underdog. I hope everybody is having a great week. It is Thursday, and Ryan and I are going to be here trying to draft the highest scoring best ball teams possible. Middle of June, dull days of June. ADP is kind of locked in here, Ryan. We've got some risers to go through. Pretty much the board, at least in the top 100, feels pretty fixed. Excited to chop it up with you today. And yeah, man, how's your week going? How's everything your way?
Pretty good, man. Yeah, excited to get into it. Kind of been, I'd say, like a lot of news over the last 2 weeks for like the time of year it is. So yeah, definitely some risers and fallers that we'll be contending with. I think I haven't done a ton of drafts in the last handful of days. So yeah, this will be really fun to kind of get in here and see what the new lay of the land is.
Yeah, you were out of the country last week. I don't think they allow best ball over there, do they?
Yeah. So in Iceland, no, they do not allow best ball.
Yeah, that's gotta be you're auto geolocated. Yeah.
I was getting, I was, no one cares, but I'll tell the story anyway. Yeah. So I was in a bunch of slows, which I did not, think was going to happen before I got out of the country. And I was like, oh damn, I'm in all these slows. Can I pick? I was not able to do it on Wi-Fi. I could do it on like international cell service until the final 4 days of my trip. And then I just couldn't even like open the draft room. So
that's annoying.
I had a very great experience with Underdog while traveling internationally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm home. I'm excited. Let's do some actual drafts now. I don't have to get auto picked.
Yeah. I usually if you have slows up, you usually should be okay. But yeah, the location thing is weird. Hey, what's up, Brett? See you in the chat. What's going on, man? Just saw your DM. Brett is putting together a top 100 list of players just based on how we view their talent. Brett's putting it together. Chris and I are going to be a part of that. Brett's going to put out a quarterback list tomorrow, I heard through the grapevine, and he's going to be trolling everybody with Tyler Shook at number 3, I'm sure. So looking forward to that from Brett. Yeah, man, rage bait is very real, especially in June. Hopefully we will not be raging on Brett's list. Brett, obviously one of the sharpest football minds in the game. Yeah, man, let's get through it here. Some of these risers, I threw a couple in our show sheet. We're waiting on this draft to fill. If you want to draft with us, chat. We got 5 in this lobby waiting. So if you're in Discord, you're in the YouTube chat, you want to draft, hop in here. I threw a couple guys in the list, Ryan. Some of these risers are pretty crazy. I think the first one I want to talk to you about is Miles Sanders. His ADP has gone up 31 spots in the last 14 days. You and I have both been saying, like, I don't know if any of these Dallas backs matter, but like, man, steaming up Miles Sanders into like now the 170s, 180s. I don't imagine you're really clicking that very much. I know you said you haven't been drafting very much the last couple of weeks, but have you changed any of your approach to this Cowboys backfield?
Not really, no. Yeah, I'm taking Jaden Blue occasionally, but yeah, for the most part, it's not a backfield I want to invest in. I think Sanders was fine when he was a final round pick that was not getting selected a lot of the time, because I do at least agree that he has as good a chance as Javonte Williams of just falling into all the volume there. But yeah, it's not like something I want to bet on when everybody else is taking him, when he's being drafted in 100% of rooms. So yeah, in any, especially in any like time gated stuff now where there are not any teams previously drafted where he would have been well below like kind of the ADP line of the final round, then yeah, I'm all set with Miles Sanders.
Yeah. Sanders got like 1.2 million guaranteed in his 1-year contract. Javonte got 2. So it is relatively close. I'm with you. Jaden Blue has been the only click I want to make. I love Dak. I wrote up Dak as one of my favorite players to target in my article that just came out this past week. So I do like some Dak. I think Jaden Blue with Dak makes a ton of sense simply because we know he's probably going to be the passing down back, but I still question the upside. The other guy I wanted to mention real quick is J.K. Dobbins is up 64 spots. That's somewhat expected, but man, he's going in the 130s now. He's going, ahead of some like very, very high upside tight ends. We've been talking about this all summer that receiver is really deep from like rounds, I think pretty much 4 through 7. It feels really good. Then it just like falls off. So, Dobbins versus the receivers in that range, okay, but like I still like the quarterbacks and tight ends in that range. I don't think you and I really talked too much about the Dobbins thing. Where are you at on Dobbins and Harvey right now?
Yeah, so for me, the reports were coming out basically that the Broncos had been in contact with Dobbins even before the NFL draft, that there was always at least some plan or some interest there. But I mean, a deal did not get done, obviously, until well into the summer, which
I think that was because of the Chargers thing, right? Like they had a weird restricted free agent tag where he couldn't sign until I think it was like basically when he did. It was something weird. I think Joe mentioned something about it.
Yeah, I think we talked about that at some point on the show, but if I remember correctly, that didn't take effect until like May or something after the draft, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Yeah. But I mean, either way, it suggests that there was not enough of a market for Dobbins at anywhere else aside from the Broncos before the draft for him to sign. I don't think that this is a player that we should be expecting to command much volume, especially as the season goes on. Dobbins has gotten hurt basically every single season he's played. So that is like kind of the final out where even if he looks amazing, he's one of the biggest injury risks in the league. I assume the idea with bringing him in is just that the Broncos have no dedicated pass blocker on the roster right now at all. Javonte did most of the third down stuff last year, even though he was woefully inefficient whenever he was targeted. So yeah, I think Dobbins is just kind of the veteran guy that at least gives them competency in that specific phase of the game. But yeah, we've seen how Sean Payton will design screens for running backs even on first and second down and just get these touches into the most important players' hands. And to me, that's still Harvey.
Yeah, agreed. We'll pick that back up real quick because I had a note on the contract Dobbins just got. We got some language on that, and he basically is like he's getting like Rico Dowdle money. And I don't know, it just doesn't really move the needle for me. Like, hey, we're on the clock real quick. What do you want to do? You want Jancy or Collins?
I've
been loving Nico plus a running back.
Let's go Nico and then a round 2 running back. That's fine with me.
Yeah, I've been loving the Nico plus Henry plus Achane type build. Honestly, I think drafting from the back end. All right, we'll take Achane. But drafting for me, this is like my favorite spot right now. I love the 10, 11, 12, mainly because I love Neighbors and Collins. And then, you just come back and I'm just jamming Achane. I would take Jonathan Taylor as early as 14 or 15 as well. I think he has a really, really high ceiling this year. Final note real quick on the Dobbins thing. I think it hurts Harvey's floor a little. It doesn't hurt the ceiling because like you mentioned, Javonte got 70 running back targets last year. He was 7th in target share among running backs. I don't foresee that going to Dobbins. I mean, Dobbins is averaging under 10 career receiving yards per game. Dobbins for sure could take some passing down, blocking work, but yeah, I'm jamming Harvey. I think Harvey will wind up 65-70 in ADP. I think that's about where he'll go. It'll be interesting to see if he flips Trevion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. Henderson is closer to me. You and I have talked about this. Like, we both are in on Henderson because the Patriots are going to be much better offensively. They've kind of fixed their offensive line. I mean, they're favored in like 10 or 11 games this year. Really good schedule. So even if he's like splitting with Henderson, I still kind of question that upside with Trevion Henderson, but like Patriots are going to be awesome this year. Harvey is the same thing. Like they're favored in 11, 12 games, really good implied team total. Obviously we're in on Knicks. Are you going to be drafting much Harvey? Like in the mid 60s? Because right now he's backed up to 61. He got as early as 54 He's at 61 now.
Yeah, that's kind of when I was saying earlier, like I'm excited to see kind of where some of these ADPs have shifted since the last time I was drafting a lot. Harvey was kind of biggest in my mind because he's a player I really like, player I want to be in on this year. I was having a hard time clicking him over Ken Walker basically. But yeah, if he flips back behind Ken Walker, I'm gonna start getting a lot of Harvey exposure, I think.
Yeah, I think that's happened and probably going to consistently happen. Yeah, Brett, Nico and Achane is just like, I love Nico Henry, and Nico and Achane is just feels so good. Like Nico's ceiling is so sick. Last 2 seasons, I mean, Nico he's basically not run a full-time route share. I mean, he's been at 66 and 72% of the routes back-to-back seasons. Obviously, Nick Caley comes from Sean McVay. He's another McVay disciple. Getting him into like even like the mid to high 70s in terms of the route share, no Dell, no Diggs. Man, he has like the wide receiver 1 upside, top 3 upside, and I love him at 11 here. I think he's a player that should be going a little earlier. I understand McCaffrey's getting pushed. I was saying all summer I didn't think McCaffrey would flip JT, and I was just dead wrong. It seems like people are projecting that. I think that's a lot of confidence in McCaffrey's health. I understand it. The volume is just going to be amazing with JT, but I think Nico should be going 8. All right, man, we're nearly back up. I think it's clearly Kyron or Tet here. I was about to throw JSN in the queue. What you think?
I think we go Tet just so we don't get behind at wide receiver.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine by me. I do like Kyron as a value, though. Dude, he's going to sign this contract extension and his ADP is going to come up. Everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, Kyron's going to get 12 touchdowns this year. It's going to happen. On Twitter, I saw this comment here from Dom. Who do you guys like more in redraft, full PPR, Nico versus Neighbors? I do think it's really close. I am just stupid high on Neighbors. He just had the 3rd best rookie season by a wide receiver. Only Randy Moss and Odell Beckham have scored more fantasy points per game than Neighbors did. I'm taking
Kyron. We take Kyron here. I will not put up a fight against.
I know you're not a big Kyron guy.
Kyron. Yeah,
and I'm not either. Honestly, I just like running backs that play a ton of snaps and score a ton of touchdowns. I don't think he's like the special talent, but man, that's a nice price. Nico versus Neighbors, how close is it for you?
It's not as close for me. Okay. I like Neighbors by a good margin. I don't know. The Nico stuff just scares me just with how bad that offensive line was last year, how poorly Stroud performed in the face of pressure for most of the season, and how it's just been completely reshuffled. They've shipped off multiple starters. All the reports out of camp are that they are literally just rotating at every spot right now. It seems like they have no idea who's starting anywhere. I don't know. It just, everything Texans just scares me a little bit for that reason.
The offensive line is a concern, but Stroud has been playing behind a pretty poor line now for 2 years. That's the main concern for me as well. Let's not forget though, I mean, Giants their win total is 5.5. It's juiced heavily towards the under. Obviously, they've got a really tough division to compete with Washington and Philly being so good. Dallas should bounce back. I don't know if that really matters so much for Neighbors when the volume is so good. I mean, he had 170 targets last year. It was the most by a rookie receiver ever, and he only played in 15 games. I kind of have them in a similar tier. Maybe I'm a little too high on Nico's ceiling. We just haven't seen that full ceiling yet from him yet. He's just been like a really good back end wide receiver 1, but you're right. It's Neighbors clearly, in full PPR, especially just because the volume is going to be amazing. I think Nico scores more touchdowns, but yeah. The best pulse, 6th round is the worst round in drafts right now. And it's funny that you say that. I feel the same way, man. Like it is wide open in that pocket. I like Harvey quite a bit now that he's going to be going in that range. I've been drafting a good amount of Godwin, Odunze, and Jordan Addison, but I'm with you. Addison obviously has the suspension risk. Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson is target competition. Godwin, ironically might have the highest floor. I mean, he's a player who's never finished worse than wide receiver 38. You can take him at wide receiver 38 right now. Obviously, the injury is fully priced in. Ryan, I know you said you haven't been drafting as much the last couple of weeks. Are there any players in that 6th-round pocket standing out? I know you like Addison quite a bit with me.
Yeah, Addison would probably be the biggest one. Yeah, I mean, running back kind of dies for like a little bit there for me. Once Harvey's off the board, James Conner's still going there in the 6th, right? I like Conner actually.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're right. Conner's a pretty high floor pick. He's a pretty high floor pick.
Yeah, he works on like a lot of builds where it's like you go wide receiver heavy early or as your RB2 or whatever. But yeah, no, yeah. I'm kind of with you. There's definitely like a drop off in terms of, that this player could go completely nuclear and have like a 50% advance rate, or at least guys that give me that vibe once you get into round 6.
Right. Yeah, the 3-hole team has a little bully tight end build going with Bowers and Kittle. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was just going to call that out and complain about it, but whatever. It's probably good for us. It's good for our advance rate here.
Yeah, it is. That is an interesting. It is interesting though. I think it can work. It's worked in previous seasons. I don't think this is the setup for it though. All right, Ken Walker or RJ Harvey. We'll take one of those 3 receivers we were just talking about here after.
Just said I've been clicking Walker every time. So
right, let's go Walker then. Yeah. I'm with you. I have Walker ahead of Harvey as well. And then you have it. Addison and Odunze just went. Whoops.
Yeah, I have it Addison first.
Yeah, I agree.
Of like the 4 guys that just went, if anyone's curious, I would rank it Addison, Jennings, Godwin, Odunze.
Oh, interesting. You got Jennings at 2 there. Okay. The Ayuk injury plus, Pearsall kind of being, his role is locked in, Jennings, that is.
Exactly. Yeah. Just top 10 in yards per outrun, first downs per outrun last year across the full season. He was like the wide receiver 8 by points per game and first read target share when Ayuk or Debo was out. Obviously, Debo is gone for the entire season. Ayuk, the prognosis on his medical recovery doesn't sound amazing, likely to start the season on the PUP list. So yeah, I just kind of think people overthink it with Jennings. Everyone's very like, the thing people always say is, he broke out in like year 4. That's so crazy. As the age curves guy that has written that article the last 2 years, 15% of elite wide receiver breakouts actually don't happen until year 4. There aren't that many other ones that recently that I can think of off the top of my head. Why can't Juwan Jennings be one of them? That seems totally reasonable to me. And it's not that I'm saying like prospectively, Jennings is going to break out in year 4. It's that he already has. And for some reason, people like don't believe it. I'm not there. I kind of don't really get people's hesitation outside of like the pattern matching of, usually wide receivers don't take this long to perform.
Yeah. But I'll be honest, that's been a bit of a mental block in my head, and you saying it the way you just said it kind of lifted that block for me. Because you're right, like just anecdotally too, like they don't have anybody on this offense that can do what he does. Ayuk will when he comes back, but he shredded his knee. He's going to start the year on PUP, and he could start very slowly. And even when Ayuk comes back, I would imagine it'll be Jennings remaining at X. Ayuk will be the flanker, and Pearsall will kind of be the rotational receiver. That's my main concern. Disbanded Brotherhood. Yeah, I saw your comment here. I think the Addison suspension is a little priced in. He's at wide receiver 33 by ADP. Last 2 seasons, he's the wide receiver 22 by points per game. If you look at just the games that he played with Jefferson, Hawkinson, everybody was healthy last year. He was wide receiver 17. Everybody here at Fantasy Points is super bullish on JJ McCarthy. They might start a little slow, but in best ball, weekly range of outcomes just really matters. And Addison has finished as a top 5 fantasy wide receiver in like 17, 18, 19% of his starts over the last 2 years. That's elite. That's like wide receiver 11, wide receiver 12. The ceiling is so sick. Yeah, Brett, you're right. Yeah, it's really hard to break out, with the target competition, and Debo leaving just is huge. I think it's huge for Kittle and McCaffrey more so. A lot of the design targets I'm expecting to go to McCaffrey. But yeah. All right, man, we're nearly back on the clock here. Judkins falling is kind of nice. I like this name.
Yep, I don't mind that one either. And it's kind of the only wide receiver here. And we're getting.
I've been jamming Downs here, but Downs is already gone.
Yeah. The down steam is in full effect, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we take Mooney here, and maybe we still get gifted like a 4 RB build or something on the wraparound. But
I've come down on Aaron Jones actually a little bit after digging in a little bit more. We can talk about that. Let's see what Shazam does here at the 12 spot.
I definitely like Judkins and Pollard more than Aaron Jones.
And we've got Nico, Tet, Addison. Yeah, I like Pollard more than Jones too, even with Addison. All right, so it'll most likely be a McCarthy Stroud type build. Let's go Pollard.
Yeah, let's do that. And then we can probably just be done at running back, I think.
Yeah, I've been talking to a few of our like sharps in Discord about 4 RB builds this year, and it feels great when you get Ken Walker in round 5. Like that's kind of been a catalyst for me this year. Is like if I can get Achane, obviously we got Kyron 6-7 spots, 5 spots past ADP, but I love the Achane Walker plus Pollard builds a lot. Just feels like you've got, Achane is a potential bell cow. Snaps are going to come up this season. Dude, I just realized every single one of the players I wrote up in players to target and values is on our team right now. Literally every single one of them.
That is incredible.
Points team of all time. We're 8 for 8 right now, and we'll make it even higher because I know we're going to get McCarthy. But yeah, I'm with you. I love Walker and Pollard. Like getting them as RB3 and RB4 just fits so comfy. Yeah, I see. That's my thing. Disbanded Brotherhood. I see your comment. Like I do question Jennings' upside, but he's still going in the 6th round. And Ryan just kind of laid out a really good argument that he's like, I think at worst a back end wide receiver 2, and then you do have the upside. Like, what if Ayuk's dead this year? Like, what if they just, what if Ayuk can't come back and be the same guy?
He also scored like 45 PPR points.
Yeah, that Vikings game. He had 12, 175, and 3 against the Vikings. I mean,
yeah, I disagree that like insert player on the 49ers playing for Kyle Shanahan doesn't have like week winning upside. Yeah, they all do. Any of them could absolutely go off in any single given week.
I think I've just been so Kittle pilled that like when I've just got a ton of Kittle, and he's coming up in ADP too, as he should be. I mean, he was started this year at 52. He's now going in the mid 40s. I honestly think he projects as like a back end round 3 player. That being said, it doesn't mean that Jennings is not a still pretty good pick in the 6th round. Ryan made a good argument for him. Brad, Emeka Egbuka will have the highest snap count in Tampa. That's a bold take this year, my friend, but he's certainly got that versatility, plays outside, inside. I remember when I was watching Trevion Henderson, obviously Egbuka played in the slot, like 70% of the time, but I thought Egbuka looked really good on the outside. I thought he certainly has the separation skill and route quickness in and out of his breaks to play outside. They're going to play a lot of 11 personnel, so he's going to play a ton. Baker was really hyping him up after OTAs. He's catching a little steam right now for sure, as most rookies do. All right, this is where it gets tricky, dude. We've got four running backs, 4 receivers. We could take a falling Knicks and then still take this is going to probably be a 3 quarterback build.
Yes.
Shaheed.
Yeah, I was going to say, may as well just click Shaheed's name now because we do need to add at least a 5th wide receiver on this turn.
Yes. Yeah, we got to get it. Yeah,
I'm cool. Right. Falling Knicks. Are there any like are there any like sneaky like back end stacks you like with Knicks? I've been taking him and Sutton a ton.
Yeah, I like
I'm kind of like Devon Vele curious now. As like a last round pick that not everybody's drafting.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are your thoughts?
I like Vele as well. So let's take Knicks here. We'll take a falling Knicks 10 spots past ADP and just hope we get Shaheed. I'd be okay with Luther Burden here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much in on Bateman at 111. Let's see if we get him.
Yeah, wide receiver really does die after Shaheed and Burden. Like,
yeah, and
I don't get the Kyle Williams stuff at all. I actually have no idea why the community is excited about Kyle Williams. But
thank you, sir. Sorry, I got a guy fixing my floor. We had a leak in our bathroom. He's leaving now. He just crushed it in an hour and a half.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't get the Kyle Williams thing either. I think, in general, I mean, he was by consensus boards, by, Brett's stuff. I mean, he was like a late day 2 at best prospect. I just don't see the upside. I love Hunter Henry. You and I've both been driving that train a little bit with Henry. I'm in on May, but I just like the May Henry stack a lot because, I mean, Henry, last couple seasons, he's got, 11, 12 end zone targets. It's like top 5, top 6, full-time route share, decent target share. And this offense is going to be much better. So just give me the guy who I can project for some touchdowns as opposed to, a receiver who might be their number 3. It's like clockwork every year where people kind of freak out over rookies being behind, like there was a report that he's behind Demario Douglas. Like, yeah, of course he is. It's June. We'll see what it is in training camp. Like, we're not all projecting that to happen the whole season. But it does seem like the Patriots have a really, really poor hit rate with these rookies, man. You would know better than anybody.
Yeah, man. It's been rough as a Patriots fan that like somewhat pays attention to like wide receiver scouting and everything. Like just because of fantasy, it's like it's our own like little corner of suffering is the day 2 receiver that we
listen
every single year.
I can't throw stones. I have missed on plenty of guys before. Hakeem Bustler, Jalen Reagor were probably the 2 guys that I liked a lot, and they were complete busts. I fully admit that I'm a much better running back evaluator than receivers, and that's why I just rely on people like Brett and Scott analytically to kind of just steer me in the right direction. But yeah, the Kyle Williams stuff is wild. His ADP is really going to come down. All right, man. So we've got an unstacked Knicks. I really like this team build. We got an unstacked Knicks. We're going to have to hope. I think McCarthy slides a couple spots past ADP. That was the only concern I had there. Other than that, we'll take Stroud if not.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that works.
Yeah, and we can, if one gets sniped, we can always go like a Cam Ward or like a Bryce Young or whatever to just bet on both of those teams actually being good.
Yeah, and Bryce, man, I mean, he had a 4.5% touchdown rate. Efficiency was way up those last 10 games after his reset. I just think Tet's a freaking baller. Like he's that Mike Evans, Drake London, somewhere on that mix. Volume should be amazing.
I will just say I see you're queuing up Bashal Tootin. I would rather have an Njoku or a Loveland over him on this.
Okay.
We've already drafted 4 running backs on.
Fine.
Just what? Like anytime I have an excuse like not to draft Tootin, I'm kind of taking it just because I'm already at 45 or 50% or something ridiculous. So
yeah, I'm in the same range right now, and I don't care. I want more. Damn, I knew that was going to happen. He's got Hawk. Yeah. Okay, we'll just go ahead and take Stroud. It's fine.
Yeah, no, that works. And
then you're right. We need a tight end here. I like. Oh, he took both of them.
That is
man,
unbelievable. Well, I'm not taking
listening to us. No, that's a great pick. Those are great picks right there. Honestly,
they are. Yeah, good for him.
You want to take Tootin and be done?
I guess.
Because I feel okay with Knicks and Stroud. I mean, we'll just do a late round 3 tight end build. So we're gonna be just jamming.
Yeah, we just gotta.
Here.
Yeah, man, it would have been so much better with one of Njoku or Loveland. But yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be fine, but that would have been so much better.
Yeah, I love both of them. I wrote both of them up as I wrote Ninjoku up as just a really good value. I just question, the touchdown upside with that Browns offense, but he's going to be their end zone target leader. Loveland, I'm like all in on. Like 130 at this ADP, he has so much upside. I mean, you're drafting him ahead of like Christian Kirk, Holly Brown, Quentin Johnston, Xavier Legette, like clear wide receiver threes at best on their team. Like Loveland could be right up there with Moore and Odunze in terms of targets this year. I know we got sniped there, but this is a very, very nice looking team build. I like the 3 late round tight ends this year too, especially when we can kind of get to back end QB1. Stroud more of a QB2, but yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Shazam is absolutely listening into us right now, Brett. That's the whole problem. 2 other players that have come way up in ADP, Ryan, you and I have talked enough about Bashal Tootin. We don't need to talk about Travis Etienne and why we're fading him this year. Is there any value in Nick Chubb at like 180? He was going from undrafted, like 212 last round to 180. He looked pretty dusty last year, but like Mixon is hurt. He's got this foot ankle injury. He was apparently in a walking boot a few weeks ago. He's coming back off the knee. Is there any value at that 180 ADP?
Oh man, like probably not, just because in best ball tournaments, I want to draft players that are likely to be putting up big production in the back end of the season, right? And
Yeah.
Nick Chubb just doesn't project that way to me. And like a running back as old as he is, that's been through as many injuries as he has. I mean, I get why he looked terrible last year. It was because he was off of that extreme, like his latest gruesome injury. But yeah, I just don't I don't see him taking over a backfield from even like a banged up Joe Mixon, or projecting as anything close to like a startable player in the last month of the season. So yeah, I just don't have interest.
And I question the contingent upside too. Like if Mixon were to miss time, they traded up to get Woody Marks, and Woody Marks, I comped him to like a souped up Justice Hill. Like he was a pretty good pass catcher, nice sure hands. I don't think he's anything special as a runner. Certainly didn't test out well for yards created, but he's a good pass catcher. And if Mixon were to get hurt, it'd probably just be some sort of gross compartmentalized committee. If Mixon gets hurt, it's Nico Collins to the moon. Like it's already Nico Collins to the moon, but like even more so. All right, we got to figure out tight end here. We could, if you wanted to do a 3 quarterback build, we could do a 3-5-7-3. I feel okay with that with these receivers. We could take Penix or Carr. Carr. Why did I say Carr? Bryce Young. Oh, I don't know where Derek Carr just came from. I don't want Pitts, Pat Freiermuth, Britton Strange.
I just don't want any of these tight ends that are right here other than Strange. So yeah, I think that's fine.
I like Henry more. You want to go Henry?
We can just do that. Honestly, why not?
Yeah, let's
make sure we actually get the tight
have
ends
like a usable tight end
if we've waited this long. Yeah.
Then the question becomes: do we want Young here, or do we want to take another tight end?
Decision made for us. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we just go Strange.
That's fine. All right, we'll take one more. Maybe the last 2 rounds. I like Dalton Schultz for this team. Actually, you know what? Let's just go ahead and earmark him.
Yeah. I love Schultz is a great call. Yep. All
right, we'll do that for this team. And he's going, what, 190? Yeah, 195. Roll should be good. He's going to probably fall into the end zone maybe 4 or 5 times this year. He's going to be playing a full-time role.
Yeah.
Definitely not sexy.
We've already made a bet on the offense. So especially with like these marginal tight ends, those are like the perfect ones to just kind of stack up and be the last one on your 3 build.
Just kind of cyborg a low-end tight end one that gets you 9-10 points a week. And we have plenty of upside. I mean, with this running back group is very good, and really like our 5 receivers. So we'll stick with a 2-5-8-3. let's think through some of these receivers. Obviously, we'll take Vele last. We liked him. I
Are
feel like
there
you're kind of
any Chargers we can talk ourselves into for
yeah.
the 17 with
I was thinking
Houston?
about that too. I mean, Quentin Johnson's gone, Trey Harris gone. If you want to, I mean, if you don't want to take Schultz, we could take like Orondere Gadsden or something like that. Just go super off the board, like last round, but that feels thin.
Yeah, I'm not doing that in best ball. Definitely
Yeah,
doing it in Dynasty, not doing that in best ball.
yeah, it'll be Tyler Conklin and Will Dissly splitting. So, yeah, no, there's no Chargers.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I'm glad that we don't have to talk about Kamani Vidal. That was unbelievable last year. I could not. I literally. I mean, I got a lot of stuff wrong last year, but Kamani Vidal was not one of the guys I got wrong in terms of fading him. Man, receiver is really bad in the late rounds this year. It's kind of gross, but I do like DeAndre Hopkins. I was looking at this last night, actually. He, I mean, 13 games with the Chiefs at the end of last year, and he was the leader in separation score, leader in route win rate. His yards per route run was like on par with Xavier Worthy. Like, he's not dust. He's attached to Lamar Jackson. Could be a couple like spiked weeks there. I don't know.
Did he ever score more than like 12 UD points at any point last year?
I remember I think he had a 985 and 2 touchdown game. I want to say against the Bucks. But yeah,
okay.
I mean, it's just scramble drill with Lamar Jackson, so you might get a couple touchdowns. That's the only thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
We could go like a full-on Texan stack. Jalen Noel. I don't really want to take Adam Thielen with Tet.
Yeah, I don't mind Alec Pierce. Just
call.
as like
I like Pierce over all these guys.
Best ball, better in best ball receiver. He'll catch a few bombs, maybe, hopefully, from Daniel Jones, not from Anthony Richardson explicitly.
Yeah. Yeah, Daniel Jones deep ball is not great, but at least Pierce will probably have a few more catchable targets this year.
Yeah, I mean he'll be running a full-time route share, which is like, you can't actually say that for a lot of these receivers that are down here.
That's a good point.
With that much confidence. So
yeah, I mean, Jalen Noel is I mean, if Christian Kirk is good, Jalen Noel probably doesn't see the field this year. All right, so we'll take Pierce, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take Dalton Schultz at ADP because we got 182. We're not gonna get him at 203.
Yeah, fine by me.
Just go ahead and close out tight end.
I guess that's the thing with DeAndre Hopkins is like, when is he on the field? Because the Ravens just don't play 11 at all.
Yeah, they don't play 11. I mean, it's a lot of 2 tight ends. They play fullback, with Ricard. But I guess I'm just envisioning like he plays like 40 or 50% of the snaps, gets some red zone, like high leverage stuff, and scores a couple touchdowns. Like he's going 185, man. Like I'm trying to find any upside in this like 185 and over range. Like I've been jamming Elic Iomanor on Brett's call, but like that's the thing this year is there are not very many good receivers to feel good about. I always say it, like, we're going to get a lot of stuff wrong in the late rounds. I was just talking about, Kamani Vidal last year. There are like certainly a few players who stand out as like no upside. I still think Hopkins might have a few spiked weeks. All right. Is it betting against ourselves? I have a horrible idea. Is this betting against ourselves? If we just do this, if we just dub stack, or I love Elic Iomanor, but do we do a late round Broncos? Just like Galaxy.
I think it's fine. Yeah, if we're going like, if it's your last 2 wide receivers, and what this team is basically saying is Sean Payton's going to continue to run his offense the exact same way, which is all of these guys are between like a 40 and a 60% route share, and they have like different spike weeks across the season. I think that's totally fine. Why not take them both?
Yeah, and with the Pat Bryant thing is crazy, man. I mean, he's a 3rd round pick, fine, decent draft capital, but like you just said, Vele was the number 2 receiver last year in route share. He was the number 2 receiver by targets. He just had 475 receiving yards. It's the second most all time by a 7th-round wide receiver. I don't think anybody's going to touch Marcus Colston's record for what it's worth. He had like over 1,000. But I mean, for a 7th-round rookie who apparently was like shredding in OTAs, like I know you said you're Vele curious. Like I'm just kind of in. Like I like him on just like as a last round pick. On non-Knicks teams, I think he makes a lot of sense. Maybe Pat Bryant is fine. Maybe he does end up being the number 2, but like I question the upside with him. And obviously Mims has a ton of speed, but man, I mean, he went 117. Like I loved him last round last year because he was Scott's boy, and it's just like same thing you just said. I know they're going to rotate receivers. He's got the speed. Was in on Knicks big time last year, and I'm in on Knicks this year too, obviously. But yeah, 117 is a bit rich to me when you're taking Mims over Jordan Love, Justin Herbert. I just like the quarterbacks and tight ends just way more in this range, and that's just the way I'm building my teams. This guy, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Mims is his 5. It's okay.
Yeah. No, Mims is fine if you're there and you're like, oh God, I need a wide receiver or something. But yeah, definitely like not my favorite click on the board. Yeah, I just much rather take in this like receiving room environment with Sean Payton. Yeah, I'm just taking the cheapest guys is kind of what it defaults to. Vele, I will say that you rattled off a few of his metrics. His first downs per route run as a rookie was exactly the same as Devontae Smith had as a rookie. Way better than guys like Marvin Harrison last year. He was up there in terms of 1 DRR over the last few years of rookies. Obviously it's because he kind of played like this specialized role, but yeah, maybe he's more of like the full-time slot this year if he takes a step forward. That's not like out of the question.
Yeah, man. That's a great stat. And okay, now it's got me questioned. Do we let's just bank on Vele, and I'm going to take my boy. I'll take some more Io Manor here. We'll take him with Pollard.
Yeah,
little team correlation there. All right, sick team. We got lucky with Knicks 10 spots past ADP. We got a little CJ Stroud, Nico stack. Love that. Tet, Addison, 2 guys we're probably going to be drafting a ton this summer. We've already drafted a ton. And nice, three late round tight ends. I like this team a lot. 2583 is one of my favorite. These 2583s just always feel good. You know what I mean? Like even with the 2 later-ish, mid-ish round quarterbacks. All right, so we just fired into a pit bull. I wanted to say Underdog is doing an awesome job this offseason with some of these like smaller stakes contests. So this one, the pit bull, $20 entry, 10 entry max. There's just 28,000 entrants, so it's not like the BBM where it's the lotto. The thing I like the most is the advance rates. It doesn't have it on this main page, so right here. Just scroll past it. Normal advance rate, 2 out of 12 in the first round. So that's, team just getting into week 15. But then the week 16 and week 17, week 15 and week 16 advance rates are 1 out of 6 and 1 out of 5. It's like double better odds than BBM.
So much better.
It's so much better, man. Like 1 out of 6 and 1 out of 5 is actually pretty beatable. It feels beatable at least. The BBM advance rates, it's the lotto. It really is. Like obviously it's skill based for sure, but it's definitely some luck. 156 man final. We are big fans at Underdog, and you can sign up at Underdog right now using code FANTASYPTS at checkout. That's going to get you not only a deposit match of up to $1,000, but you're going to get a standard subscription for $5 here at Fantasy Points. So if you have not deposited, played on Underdog yet this year, we cannot recommend them more. It's not, we're not just partners with them. Like we really believe they're by far the best platform in the best ball space. Again, code FANTASYPTS at checkout. You'll get a deposit match up to $1,000 plus, deposit bonus up to $1,000 plus a $5 Fantasy Point standard subscription. Ryan, that has, a lot of our paywalled articles, but most importantly, it's got our projection-based best ball rankings that Chris Wecht and yourself are working on behind the scenes, weekly, daily, giving updates. Fantasy Point subscribers in that standard subscription can download our CSV, upload it to Underdog, and get drafting today. Ryan, we've got time. That was a fast draft, 45-ish minutes. Let's rep a BBM. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling lucky. I feel like every time I go into the draft a BBM, I'm like going into my Colorado State Lottery app and doing a scratch off. It's kind of the same thing. So it's the same vibe right now. We're playing the lotto here. I was just going through the advance rate. I mean, look at this here. It's 1 out of 13 in weeks. Excuse me, week 15 is the advance rate. 1 out of 16. So basically, like if you max BBM, it's 150 max entry. That's $3,750 in terms of price. If you max it, your expected, just based off like if you give everybody the same skill level, your expected finals teams is like 0.65.
Yeah. You ran well to get a team in the final.
Yeah, just to get a team in the finals. By the way, you'd be breaking even. So that is a nice thing that BBM has done the last couple of years, making that last 239 spots in the payout structure. You're at least, you're going to make your money back. But again, just know the contests. Contest selection is super, super important. Understanding like what your portfolio is, what your goals are, and specifically with BBM, like you can be an awesome player and still like be minus EV 6 years straight. It's just the way this contest is structured. Everybody's chasing that $2 million prize though, Ryan. We're going to try to take it down and get there with this team. If you are hanging out with us on YouTube, we are waiting for one person in this lobby. If you want to join us, appreciate everybody hanging with us on YouTube. Yeah, Brett, we got your boy. I saw your comment. Brett's wide receiver 2 based on film. You like Io Manor. I think the only reason Io Manor fell is because he like shredded his knee. So he's already the wide receiver 2. I saw that Theo
Easton Freeze, Titans beat writer, is projecting him as the week 1 starter, I believe. Friend of Fantasy Points, Easton Freeze.
Yeah, great beat writer. I think Theo tweeted that out. I saw that the other day. Super bullish, and he was saying Easton Freeze was saying a couple weeks ago that Tyler Lockett might be on the roster bubble, which kind of surprised me. But I think that might just be like they're really high on Io Manor. Obviously, Chimere DK is going to make the team as their field stretcher. All right, we filled. Let's see where we're picking. Hey, let's go.
Oh, let's go.
Nice. Very nice.
We can go for the we can pray for the dream Bengals quad stack. We can hit the Chase Higgins, reach on Brown, push Burrow.
Yeah.
What do we think, guys?
I
say that, but half the lobby is probably listening to the stream. If the last draft is anything to go by, so
yeah, that Loveland and Njoku thing was brutal. I think you and I we did that a couple drafts ago. We took Njoku and Loveland and just were done at tight end, and I loved that. But that was brutal. Yeah, I've done that before. I think it was I actually did that in a couple puppies. I think 2 earlier this summer. Just the Chase Brown, Higgins, like Giga, and then take Brown or Burrow at 49. The only I will say here, the only thing I dislike is like I was just jamming Chase and Taylor. Taylor's come up by ADP. Irving's come up a little bit by ADP. I know you're not like super in on Jacobs. I still am, but I don't think he has near the upside of those 2 players. And I actually think I like Chase Brown more than Jacobs too.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's the only thing about picking one is like I wish we could get JT and Bucky there still. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen anymore.
Agreed. Yeah, and I'm seeing I'm like sitting here behind the scenes like writing up my article all about why I hate Trey McBride's ADP and I hate all the early tight ends this year, kind of doing like that full article. And what do you know? I open up Underdog and now McBride is going like 26th overall. There's still guys I'm not taking over him that are in the 3rd round, Chase Brown included. I'm taking Brown over McBride is what I meant to say. Right. But yeah, it's like, oh, they're just yeah, just these like micro shifts with Rashee Rice, I think, kind of moving up the board and like flipping everything for everyone. It had kind of changed the turn there a lot for me.
Yeah, I have not taken any Bowers yet, and I can't bring myself to. I mean, you and I were saying this on the first stream of the year. Like, there's no way I'm taking Bowers over Achane. I can't take him over JT. I understand, JT definitely doesn't have like this insane receiving upside that, Achane and even Bucky has to a certain extent. But like, I mean, JT's been a top 6 fantasy running back by fantasy points per game in 3 out of the last 4 years. The only year he didn't do it was when he, blew up his ankle. And I'm in on Rice. I've got Rice in my personal rankings at like 15. It's like stupid high. I had him at 18 to start the year. I've just kept moving him up.
Yeah, I regret not getting more when he was solidly. I got a decent amount, but not getting more when he was solidly a 3rd round pick.
Yeah,
and like a late, early 4th. Early.
I was so frustrated because I was with you. Like, I'm with you. Like, it always felt like I had pick 33 and he went 32. I had pick 35 and you go 34. I looked at my exposures and I'm still well above on 80 on Rice at like 12-13%, but I felt like I'd be closer to like 18 or 19. He just projects as a 1st round pick. Like, if he's not suspended, like he's going to produce like a 1st round pick. I don't know how this guy's. Oh, there he goes. I was about to put Achane in Arqueo. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, wow, that would have been
crazy. Like, there's no way. So this will probably be. Well, we will definitely be able to do the Chase stack, Chase squared.
Chase Higgins, Chase.
Yeah, I also don't mind McBride. Just like
Kittle goes on the next turn. Why?
Yeah.
Just I'm always like, even with where McBride's going now, if there's just like any 1v1 I can do. Oh yeah, he's pushed up a little bit too. Okay, yeah. This makes my take a little harder, but yeah, any like 1v1 where it's McBride or Kittle and a receiver in the opposite round, I'm always taking the one with Kittle.
Yeah. It's going to be harder to do. You and I have been saying this all off season. Like, Kittle opened at 51. I was like, that's stupid. Like, that's so dumb. You guys are jamming. All right, so you want to do it? You want to do the
Higgins, Chase, Higgins, or Higgins, Chase? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's do it. I do like McBride just only for that week 17, game stack, but that's not a determining factor. Like, team structure, getting the right players is way more important. But yeah, that was my argument, is like, we're jamming Bowers at 18. We're jamming McBride. He was going at like what, 21-ish, 22. He slid to 26 now. I'm okay with McBride, and like the mid 3rd round, I would have him somewhere closer to 32. I'd have Bowers honestly about where McBride's going right now. But that was my argument, is like, okay, you guys are jamming in these elite tight ends, but you're not jamming Kittle, who just outscored Bowers by 1 point per game last year. And just like, I mean, he was a top 12 fantasy tight end in all but one of his games. The only game he didn't do it was the snow game against the Bills, where Purdy threw for what, like 90 yards or something. Like, yeah, this Bowers, man, JT Bowers. That's a lot of love for Geno, my friend.
Well, I think that's like, if you're going to, I don't know. You could talk me either way on this one. Where I've taken Bowers, it has been just like the Raiders super stack, which is like, we live in the world where all the film bros are totally right about Geno, and this is actually going to be like a top 10 offense. And I've just done that. I don't know though. I think in reality they are kind of I think they're kind of counterbalanced against each other, right? I don't know if both GNT and Bowers can have the blow up season at the same time.
They are definitely working against each other. And look, the Raiders are implied for 20.7 points per game, Ryan. That's 6th fewest. The Titans are at 20.5. Okay. No one is excited to draft Titans. Like, I love JT. I'm excited to draft JT because he's a superstar talent and he's going to get the ball 350 times. But the one thing that no one has talked about all offseason, this Raiders passing offense was, like top 10-ish in terms of pass rate. Like pass volume was really good last year.
I think they were top 3 in total dropbacks last
There you
year.
go.
Yeah.
That is not going to happen this year.
Middle of the pack in catchable targets per game. Like,
bro, that is
the QB play might be better, but the fantasy volume is not necessarily going to be.
No. Chip Kelly is a run heavy coach. Pete Carroll is, he's Pete Carroll. I mean, come on. Like, Chris was saying this when we were going through projections in April. We went through the Raiders and we were talking through their pass rate. Last year, I believe it was around 65%, not adjusted for game script. We're at like 60.5 right now. And I was honestly arguing for it to be a little lower. I mean, Chip was very run heavy in college. When he went back to college, he was very run heavy. At his last stop with the Niners, he was run heavy with the Eagles. Obviously, he had mobile quarterbacks. Gino is, he's really good at the line of scrimmage. Gino is awesome at like diagnosing defenses and getting out of plays based on coverages. But that being said, I just that's a lot of love for a team that's projected to be the 6th worst offense in the NFL. I mean, they're a full point behind the Steelers, a full point behind the Panthers, a full point behind the Colts. I can't get there with Bowers. Like, I got a little smoked by him last year. I ended up with very little Bowers in best ball. Ended up with him in redraft just because he was so cheap and going like round 11. Nobody was really taking him, but I'm not chasing the Bowers thing. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll smoke me again and I'll be very wrong.
That's my thing, man. All my Bowers was in Dynasty last year, pretty much, because I thought I would be the low guy on him, but he would just keep falling to like the 109 or the 110. It like in all of my Dynasty leagues, I was like, damn, I've argued with Jacob Sanderson for so many hours about Bowers and made myself look stupid ultimately. But I didn't pay the price in Dynasty because I kept getting him anyway.
Yeah, I've cut my Dynasty teams way down. I've got 5 teams and Bowers is on 3 of them. Same thing. It was just like, this dude is so talented. He's going 110 and kind of a meh class. All right, we'll take Burrow here for sure. Do you want to take Ken? I like Ken Walker here, honestly.
I do like Ken Walker. You're not really going to get another shot at a good RB. I like Sutton as well.
That's the only thing, Ryan, is like, we're going to be back on the clock at 71, 72. Like we're going to be picking between the rookies. Let's take Walker.
Yeah.
Who cares about it? This is where he should be going. I think Walker should be going in the middle of round 4. Like,
yeah. Oh, he projects as I believe as a top 12 running back for us. Yeah. He should absolutely be going in the top 4 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks implied for 22.4 points per game. We were just talking about the Raiders. That is nearly 2 points ahead of the Raiders, and this is like a Sam Darnold-led offense. I'm not like stoked by any means to be drafting Seahawks attached to Sam Darnold, but I mean, Ken Walker last year was the RB8 by XFP per game. He's just awesome. Like every year leads the league in missed tackles forced. In this draft, Hampton, Cook, okay. Yeah, we saw Chuba get pushed up a little bit. I think he should be going around here. I think he should be going ahead of Hampton. I think.
Yeah, he probably should be.
I'm with you. Should be going,
I would chase Walker all the way up the board to like the QBs or to like a Tet McMillan basically.
Yeah, I'm taking Tet over Walker for sure. But yeah, to the quarterbacks for sure. I think he should be like the next guy after the elite quarterbacks. By the way, I know you said you're kind of digging into why you're fading the early round tight ends this year. That's super interesting. I mean, I'm going through the Underdog draft plan. I'm going to finish that this weekend. And once again, 3 tight end builds just smashed, especially the tight end builds that had Bowers, obviously, are doing a lot of that work last year. He was going round 9, round 10. Underdog specifically, like early round tight ends have been a pretty bad bet. Like, and you put out a tweet yesterday looking at the highest win rate players on ESPN, dating back to 17. And basically the only guy that's gone in the first 3 rounds that has like a league winning type season is Travis Kelce. And he's Travis freaking Kelce.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I'll just preview the article right now. It'll come out next week at some point if you guys are interested. But yeah, essentially from like a managed redraft context, we have only ever seen Travis Kelce actually return league winning value at an ADP where you're selecting him over like top 12 running backs and wide receivers. It'll differ based on platform, obviously, but the gist is like, yeah, you need a tight end to score like 18 PPR points per game to be worth drafting in like the top 40 or so picks. And it's in best ball that's obviously a concern as well. But the bigger thing in best ball is at all of the EV is in those playoff weeks where you need to advance past week 15, week 16, week 17. And the thing is with tight ends, the bar is just so much lower to get like an advanceable score. So like at 15 underdog points is like a 96th percentile tight end score over the past 4 years. That's literally just like, that's a pair of touchdowns. And most tight ends can do that you were drafting late, that you're drafting in the final round. Most tight ends are capable of that. And it's played out over the last 4 years as well. The tight ends that have had like those multiple boom weeks in the playoffs are basically nobody has ever done it that was drafted higher than the tight end 5. Like Kittle did it 1 year, Andrews did it 1 year, and then it was like David Njoku, Isaiah Likely, and Dalton Schultz, all like late ADPs that have been like that multi-week playoff hero. So yeah, you're obviously if you're drafting an elite tight end, you're getting more of those weeks overall over the season for sure than you are from a late one. But there's just kind of no guarantee at all that they're going to come in the playoffs when you actually need them. Like I would just rather be taking more shots and like spreading it thinner into like a 3 tight end build whenever I can.
Yeah, I want to pick this up real quick because you made a ton of good points. We're back on the clock here though. We got to take another receiver. I'm taking Pacheco here. I love Pacheco. I've been just like really pumping him up in my ranks. All right, between these receivers though, Judy, Debo, your boy Jaden Reed. I like Downs overall. Well, is Downs already gone? Holy shit.
He probably is. Yeah. He's right there. I see him.
Is my brain just skipping over?
We can go Downs for sure. I would, yeah. I would rank it like Downs, Judy,
nice.
Let's go. Probably, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, man. Like if we're taking Jacoby Myers at 72, Downs is now going 84. He should, if we're taking Jacoby Myers at 72, Downs should be going here at worst. I mean, he was the wide receiver 18 last year by fantasy points per game on Underdog in Flacco's starts. So I mean, it's just like give him competent quarterback play, and the guy's just a massive target earner. Ryan, I think you quote tweeted it, or maybe you tweeted it yourself, that Downs had like one of the highest targets per route run on horizontally breaking routes last year. Like,
yeah, that was from Football Insights on Twitter. Awesome account.
Yeah, shout out to Nick.
Yeah,
he's an awesome follow and a super sharp analyst. Yeah, to put a bow on your tight end point, I always say this every year, like tight ends live and die by touchdowns, and that's, in the money making rounds on Underdog. It really is. It can be pretty random. And if you want to lean into that randomness, well, you probably shouldn't be spending a whole lot of draft capital at the position when you can cyborg, some decent tight end production throughout the season. And then, like you said, those late round tight ends, I mean, they're capable of producing the 2 touchdown games too. So you said 15 points on Underdog is like a 95th percentile score. A spiked week score is like 12 points. I mean, it's just like such a low bar at tight end. And yeah, I mean, Kittle, I love Kittle. You love Kittle. Bowers, McBride, like those guys are consistently above 12 points per game for sure. I mean, they average, just over 12 points per game. But you can find ways to replace that production with basically no draft capital and not have any change in your EV. In fact, it's probably higher EV on Underdog because instead of wasting, I shouldn't say wasting, but using a 4th, 3rd, 2nd round pick on a tight end, I mean, you're getting a running back, you're getting a high upside receiver. I think the biggest thing that people don't talk about with this, Ryan, is like we've gotten really good at picking receivers. If you look at dude, if we look at spiked weeks at receiver, I looked at this last offseason, like the plurality of them come in the first 3 rounds. That really freaking matters, dude. It's like, not only are you losing, spiked week scoring potential at receiver in place of this, albeit very consistent tight end like McBride. Nobody's going to debate you that McBride and Bowers are consistent, but that opportunity cost of not taking a receiver is maybe more important to me.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that. I'm gonna have to go make sure to link your article from last year in mine then, because I end up making pretty much the same point. Just using like that same methodology, like a 96th percentile or better week at wide receiver that have done it multiple times in those playoff weeks. It's there were 8 receivers that have done it in the last 4 years. It's literally. It was 2 rookies. It was Amon-Ra his rookie year and BTJ last year. Jameson Williams kind of randomly last year. And then the other 5 guys all in the first 3 rounds. Like the market's just better at finding upside wide receivers than upside at tight end. And again, it's because, at receiver, you have to earn a lot of targets and get lucky on TDs. So it makes way more sense.
All right, we real quick, we've got to take 2 receivers, Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed. Anybody in this range you feel passionately about over those guys?
Not really, other than Shaheed. So some Higgins exposure is fine with me.
Yeah, I like Higgins a little bit. I do question the upside just because Nico is Nico and he's going to be the alpha, but he's going to be the starting flanker. Definitely has some contingent upside if Nico, hurts his hammy again. I'll be honest, I have hated my running back groups pretty much every 101 that I get, but this is the first team that I have not hated. Like we overpaid slightly on Pacheco for sure. But you and I, this is a player, Pacheco, we didn't really talk about it when we took him, but like you and I you were in on Pacheco in round 3 last year, right? I remember talking with you, right?
I was like, he was round 4 at one point and I loved it. And I was chasing him up to round 3 and I was, thought I got bailed out on it like the first week. And then, it did not work after week 2.
Yeah. And it's like, if you and I were profiling this guy as a round 3 pick last year, he's coming off, a leg, broken leg injury, clearly wasn't himself, to close out last season. I made the argument in my article, like he should be going round 6. Like he should be going around James Conner and Kamara. Like the volume is pretty locked in, man. By XFP, he was at 19.1 XFP on Underdog. I believe it was around 19, maybe 19 and a half. That's like solid RB1. Then he broke his leg. Previous year, he was the RB15 by fantasy points per game. By XFP, he was around there. I think he's still underpriced. He's getting steamed for sure. I want to say he opened in the 80, like maybe even low 90 range. He was him and Swift were both been steamed up, but it's just right. Like I still think there's ADP value. Again, taking him at 72 is it's pushing it for sure, but I think he really should be going in the 60s. We just were talking at the start of the show about that 6th round is just like kind of wide open. And I think Pacheco deserves to be a part of that wide open group. Like, does he really project that much worse than James Conner or Quinshon Judkins? Judkins is a bell cow, but he's on the worst offense in the league.
Yeah. And the Chiefs also still kind of have no answer for like a 3rd down running back either, which was like a kind of a big thing last year when we were making the case with Jerick McKinnon being gone. I haven't heard anything about Brashard Smith in the entire summer so far. Their 7th round pick that people thought could maybe have like a pass catching role. So it just makes a ton of sense with Pacheco.
Yeah, and I honestly think there could be even more steam. There's some chance they're not going to keep full running backs, man. So I was looking at the contracts. Kareem Hunt only got like $850,000 guaranteed. Elijah Mitchell actually got more. He got like almost double that. He got like $1.4 million guaranteed. So Mitchell is going to make the team. Hunt was dust last year. He had like the lowest explosive run rate among, I think Gus Edwards was slightly lower. He was dead last in missed tackles forced. He might be fully dust. And then, like you said, they don't have a 3rd down back. So that could very well just be Pacheco because they don't have it on the roster.
Yeah. And despite Hunt being so dust for a lot of the season, really until like the end of the year when they just said, screw it, we're not going to have a run game, Hunt was leading the NFL in goal line carries for like a good like 8-week span. I remember like giving up mentioning it in the everything report because I was like, well, he's just never going to actually score, I guess, but he does still lead the NFL in end zone carries right now since like week 4 or whatever when he signed.
All right, we got Caleb Williams ADP value. I love a little Caleb Williams, Colston Loveland stack here. We'd be done at quarterback.
Perfect. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Yeah,
nice.
Easy,
Burrow and Williams, and then we'll do another three tight end build. Yeah, good looking team so far. Again, I've really hated most of my running back builds when I get 101 and I get the chance to draft Chase, but yeah, this has turned out very, very nicely.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to address Carlos Goat in the chat, saying he disagrees with pulling Burrow up to the 4-5 turn when you're doing a Bengals stack and wanting to risk it. I was kind of with you like initially, but I'm so sorry. I can't remember who changed my mind on this. It was literally just a light bulb moment when I was scrolling Twitter or whatever. But the odds that let's say you pull Burrow up to the 4-5 turn, whatever percentage you want to assign of teams that got Burrow at the 6-7 turn, maybe it's like 30 or 40% of teams based on his ADP, probably lower, honestly, but even being generous, think about what percentage of those teams then are going to advance into a pod with you where it's going to matter that they got an extra 5th round pick, especially after like once you get into week 16, week 17, when it's only whatever it is, 300-ish teams left in the contest. It's like, it's very unlikely to actually matter like head to head, whether you took both of those, unless like the only way it doesn't happen or that it does matter is like Burrow and Chase and all of the Bengals end up being like 50% plus advance rate players or something like that. Right. But even then still, I think you just rather get more Burrow teams if you're only getting 150 bullets into BBM or into whatever contest you're going with. At that point, you just rather have more teams where you actually get the stack.
That's exactly right. And it's also one of those things where, Chris proved this when he was doing some studies on best ball stacking 2 years ago for the Big Data Bowl. Teams that actually go and blow out ADP, not by egregious margins. You're not taking Dak Prescott in round 7 with CD, right? But like, you get ahead of ADP by 10, 12 spots. Like, not only are they like, you're not changing your EV, those teams actually looked better in terms of their advance rate, their total points scored. I just don't really care. Like, oh my God, I overpaid 12 spots for a full-on Bengals stack. Well, yeah, the Bengals could be the top scoring offense in the NFL. Like, I really don't care. And again, it's one of those things too, like, you're going to usually get 1 or 2 quarterbacks that fall past ADP. I mean, we could take Stroud way past ADP too. I mean, we're not going to do that. But I mean, we balanced it out with a really great ADP value, and Caleb Williams. We're very unique in that aspect. I just really don't care. Like, we're saying with this team build, with our chest, that the Bengals are the best team in the NFL this year. I'm with you 100%. It just doesn't really matter to me. Like, having Burrow on this team is what matters more. All right, we got 10 seconds here.
I like Ferg here.
Yeah, I was about to throw him in there as well.
Ferg and a running back, probably.
Yeah, we could do Ferg and Jaden Blue. I don't mind that just for a little Dallas, unless you feel strongly about like Garindo or White.
Yeah, we can do Blue here. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, he's fine.
We're like solid enough at running back that it's not the end of the world if Blue ends up just kind of being a 0.
Yeah, so this will be again a 2 quarterback team. I'm thinking 2-6-7-3. I think that's what I'm thinking.
Because we could even do like 2-5-8-3. Like I feel pretty good with like Brown, Walker, Pacheco to not have to go 6.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
But
yeah, no, we should go 8 receivers. So we'll do a 2-5-8-3. I mean, Higgins and Chase is awesome, but yeah, we definitely could use a third receiver. Maybe Michael Wilson. I don't draft Michael Wilson at all, but like he makes sense with this team with week 17.
Yep. Benson's long gone, obviously.
Yeah, Benson's
right?
long gone. Oh, this was a guy Chris loved. Don't yell at me. We could take him absolutely last round. Chris, he projected relatively well, and when we were going through, I was like, bro, we gotta get that down a little bit. But he's got some little contingent upside. You take him like nobody's taking him. Weird game stack. We need a third tight end. I like Gesicki if you just want to go full. Actually, you know what? No, I don't take. I had to tell myself this the other week too, and I had a Burrow team. Do not take Gesicki and Higgins together. They are negatively correlated. Do not do that. Basically,
it's totally true. Yeah,
Gesicki's good games last year came when Higgins was hurt. We already have the full-on Bengal stack, so we're not going to do that.
Yep. Yeah, they were whenever Higgins was hurt, they were just like, okay, we're going to run a ton of 12, and that like lets us have Gesicki on the field without totally compromising our blocking. So those were all of the Gesicki games essentially.
Yeah. And we said definitely just one more running back, right? So we can.
Yeah, I think 5 running backs is good. Like,
all right.
Yeah, all right, like a Roshan would work. Like a
good call. Guys. Great call. I've been taking Roshan with Caleb. I like that a lot. Also probably want another tight end here too. So we'll just
RB tight end here and then fill out wide receiver. I think is cool with me because it's just so flat at wide receiver.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, around 10. Yeah,
right. I mean, it's Roshan just went.
Okay.
Do you feel strongly about Jalen Wright?
I don't, but
I mean, he's a fine pick right here at in the 160s. You know what? We're not going to get Michael Wilson. We do want to do that. We're not going to get him.
We can just pull him up to make sure we get
that's fine.
Get a Cardinal stack. Yeah.
I like Henry over Strange.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. So that'll be the Q. Did you just freeze on me? No.
You're like moving your whole window around or something. Yeah, I don't know. Underdog's not having it.
There we go. All right, so we'll take one more late round running back. Done at tight end. I threw him here kind of like as a joke, but I actually.
So wait, can you explain explain Demarcus Robinson to me very slowly?
Okay,
because I'm
very slowly.
Brandon
Ayuk is dead. Let's just say this year is just kind of a wash for him. If one of Pearsall or Jennings gets hurt, I mean, Demarcus Robinson will be their X receiver, but he has no upside. There's no, he's a last round pick for sure. It was just strictly a weird pick to get we've got a Bears stack that's pretty sexy, honestly. And just
all of his spike weeks last year were like not when Kupp and Puka were hurt. It was like when they were on the field and he just like got the touchdowns basically. Yeah. So I don't.
Yeah, it's thin. Trust me, it feels thin. I'm not drafting Demarcus Robinson. He does projected reasonably well when we were going through it earlier this summer. But yeah, it's just a weird just to get a little weird in BBM. I think you do need to get a little weird with your stacks just because it is the lotto. But yeah, it would take an injury for sure to get him there.
Yeah.
Man, I love these 20-second clocks. These just fly, man. It's awesome.
Nice,
yeah.
I do think Shipley and Giddens are pretty clearly
I love
running back handcuffs I have the most interest in this range.
Shipley and who? Did you say Giddens?
Giddens, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Giddens is definitely going to be the 2. I mean, they've not had a 2 basically in since Zach Moss was there, right?
Yeah.
They really haven't. Yeah, good call. I also don't hate Marshawn Lloyd, even though he just can't stay healthy. The dude was really good at USC. All right, so we've got six receivers. We said we want to do 2, 5, 8, 3. Let's Let's look through the receivers real quick.
What do you think? What do you think of Dante Thornton stuff?
Dude, he can run, man. Like he's got some sprinter speed. I watched him just this May just to kind of get an idea of him. He was apparently playing over Besh like at OTAs. So I mean, if you're a Thornton fan, it's bullish. Gino's good at throwing deep balls, but I question the role. Like, Jacoby's full time. I think Besh will eventually kind of get going. I mean, there's certainly like Trey Tucker was not good last year. Like Trey Tucker ran a ton of routes. He was like top 20 in the league in routes, but did nothing on them. I mean, there's certainly some upside. I don't mind him. I didn't write him up.
It's one of the things where it's like I would love if I had a bunch of Dante Thornton from like the last round when no one was drafting him, but now I'm just like if he's gonna be selected on every team from here on out, is it actually any that different than clicking like Eli Manor or like insert?
No, it's not.
No,
and Eli Manor projects better and probably has a full-time role. All right, we'll take Lloyd here. We got a receiver. We need to take a receiver though.
Yes. Any cokeheads? Any cokeheads?
He might get cut, apparently.
I don't believe that. That doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me either, but like I think I'd rather take Calvin Austin, honestly.
All right. Yeah, the Coker stuff is like it's weird because when you read I've seen two blurbs that have basically said this. I think Chris Wecht has tweeted out both of them.
Yeah.
They both read more to me like it reads to me like a beat writer is saying that this is an undrafted year 2 player that should be on the roster bubble kind of theoretically, but he did really well last year and he'll have to find a role. Like, I don't know. It doesn't really read to me as like we actually think he's getting, or we certainly not like we have inside information that he's probably getting cut. Like it doesn't approach that to me at all. Like it really reads as like, this is like two guys' opinions.
I hear you. And that's unfortunately the world we live in with beat writers these days is they report their opinions as facts, but just add it up though, right? Tet, Leggett, Thielen, Jimmy Horn, all making the team. Then it really is like, okay, that's 4. David Moore versus Coker is kind of close, I guess.
I don't think that's close at all. Coker outplayed Leggett last year. Like
he did, yeah.
I understand it's not that simple because of the draft capital invested, but
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't know why you wouldn't keep Coker on the roster.
I mean,
that's nuts to me.
Yeah, Moore has no draft. I mean, he's just been like he's been on what, like 6-7 teams now. It's not like he's a good player, but these teams really care about special teams. Did Coker play special teams last year? Let's see. Double check this.
Yeah, that was the other thing that it seemed like those reports were kind of hinting at is like, oh, maybe you'll have to find a role on special teams, but I have no idea if he played it last year.
Yeah, he played 4 games on special teams last year, and then he didn't play again. And he is on the. I mean, he's on.
Yeah, because he was running like nearly a full-time route share for half the season.
Right,
of course, he wasn't playing on special teams.
Yeah, they had to do it. I mean, David Moore wasn't. I mean, he wasn't terrible last year. And yeah, he does play special teams. So if they only keep 5 receivers and maybe 3 tight ends, so what it'd be Jatavian, Tom Tremble, then they just draft somebody too. Oh yeah, Mitchell Evans,
tight end?
Notre Dame kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna they're gonna keep 3 tight ends. I could see it for real. It's not not crazy.
Even like Jimmy Horn doesn't make sense to me. Why is Jimmy, like, I understand you just drafted him.
They drafted him.
Wanted him to make the team, yeah. But like you just saw Coker actually perform well on an NFL field last year. Like why are we?
No,
why would you cut him for a guy you just drafted on day 3? Like, yeah, I don't.
I'm 100% like Coker was. I was saying Coker looked really good. Like when he had that one game. Whenever it was, like when he first came out, I was like, I put on the game. I'm like, oh, this guy can play. But we see this every year with undrafted guys. Like coaches just, they don't value them unless they're just absolute superstars, like Austin Eckler type guys. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's right. Like, I would rather have Coker as well, but I mean, they did just spend a 6th-round pick on Jimmy Horn. All right, last pick. We don't have to take DeMarcus Robinson because two of my favorite guys are here. We did just take Vele. We've been jamming Elik Iomanor. I don't want to take Yoshivas. That just feels like we're playing against ourselves a little bit with Chase and Higgins.
Yeah,
I think Jalen Royals kind of.
I'd definitely rather have the first two than Royals, but
all right, we'll take Iomanor again. Unless Lewis MJ2 takes him here. He does not. Robert Woods.
Bobby Trees.
Whoa.
He on a team?
Yeah, he's on Houston. He's no, he's not on Houston now. Oh, he just signed with the Steelers.
He was, but
yeah, he was on the Houston. He's now on the Steelers. Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
What the hell? Hold on. Does he have Rodgers? Okay. That kind of makes sense, I guess.
A hubby retirement home. Yes.
Is Robin
exactly?
You took him over Roman Wilson? Roman Wilson might beat out Calvin Austin. Interesting. Okay. On that note, Ryan, great streams today, man. Love this team. Bengals full-on onslaught team. We got Caleb Williams a little bit past ADP with some Colston Loveland. I did not force him to throw up in his mouth and take DeMarcus Robinson for a gross late-round game stack. Good team, though. 2-5, 7-3. I don't know why 2-5-8-3. I don't know why Iomanor is not showing up. And we got our boy Hunter Henry. I will say on a final note, do you care, like when you're doing 3 late round tight ends, obviously if you're doing a 2 tight end team, you care about the buys. Do you care about buys if you're doing 3 tight ends?
Not really. Like,
yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously if you have 3 guys at week 14 or there's a bunch of guys at week 14 that I like, Kittle and Henry. Yeah, I don't think it matters either. Great show. Great stuff. Chat. We will see you guys next week. We will be live again every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's noon in the best time zone ever here out in Mountain 11 Pacific. Ripping underdog drafts and chatting ball every single week. So make sure you are, subscribed, got the notification bell on. We are pushing 16,000 subscribers. We just hit, I think it was 16,200 or 16,300. I have a goal to get us to 20,000 by the season, and I think we're going to get there. And if you're not subscribed right now, make sure you change that, go down, hit the subscribe button. Never miss a show from Ryan and I. Never miss a show from any of us or any of the videos we're posting on YouTube because we are just churning out the content here. For Ryan, for Tom behind the glass, I'm Graham. We'll see you guys at the top of the leaderboards.
What?
Why are you shaking your head? You're welcome.